Good morning, Facebook. Hello, everybody. Marcus here. July 3rd, Sunday, July 3rd. July 4th weekend. July 4th is tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It is around 8:15 a.m. I have not been on that much lately. I've been really busy this summer. It's been a really busy summer with everything Jamie and I do. Jamie and I have our hands in a few different things between Airbnbs and local wine tours and promoting our travel tours, our travel wine tours, and all that kind of stuff. We are doing a lot, and the restaurant has been busy, so thank goodness. So good morning, everybody tuning in. I want to talk about tequila this morning. Tequila is one of those things that I've been fascinated more with lately, and the more I'm fascinated with it, the more information I find out, and our tequila list is growing and growing. But I'm going to talk about something today that I did not know about tequila until the other day. So good morning, everybody tuning in. Hey Ralph, hey Albie, good morning Nadine, good morning everybody tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. It rained here a little bit yesterday, and then the sun came out and it was nice. And good morning Chris, and I went for a bike ride yesterday afternoon, and we were in Ellenville. We had a downpour at about 4:30, 4:45, and I was out riding my bike in the downpour. It felt really good though. I ended up getting soaked. I left my phone back, so I kind of saw the clouds as I was heading out for my ride. I said, I think it's going to rain here. But it felt really good. That downpoured on. I was out on my road bike. So good morning, everybody. So I want to talk about tequila today. Tequila, if you're a tequila fan, just drop a comment, say yes, love tequila, or drop a thumbs up, or hit the like button if you are a tequila fan. There are more and more tequila fans, and tequila has changed drastically over the last 10 years. Tequila is more of a sipping tequila now, not really a shot tequila. People used to associate tequila with shot. In fact, somebody here last night ordered a shot of tequila, and I said, they wanted a lime with it and everything, so before you do the lime, because they had never heard of this brand of tequila, we have a lot of cool tequilas here, and I said, before you shoot it down and try a lime with it, just sip it first and see what you think. And they were like, wow, this is really good. I don't need a lime. So tequila's gone over to this sipping tequila. Jimmy, can you grab the glass that we usually serve tequila in? It's on the bottom there, the Riedel glass. So tequila has gone from, shot glass. So tequila has gone from a traditional shot glass that most people drink their tequila in, like this, right, to more like this. This is really what you should be drinking a tequila in. And whether it's an añejo or a silver, aged or unaged or extra aged, that's a preferred glass. And you'll see a lot of tequila makers and people with tequila will drinking tequila like that instead of shooting it down with this. And you get much more aroma. This is really nice. So tequila, or agave spirits in general, because Mexico makes agave spirits. First I thought there was 3 or 4 agave spirits, then I thought there was 5 agave spirits, and when I found out there was a 5th agave spirit and I didn't know about Raicilla, I said, well gee, what I know now is there's 5 spirits, maybe there's more. Last night I found out there's actually more than 5 spirits coming out of Mexico. There's a couple other ones that I'm having trouble pronouncing right now that are like subcategories of mezcal. So that's really cool. But the thing I want to talk about tequila is, before I talk about this one thing about tequila that I learned the other day, on Friday, tequila has, or agave spirits in general, it means mezcal, sotol, bacanora, raicilla, and what's the other one in there? Mezcal, sotol, bacanora, raicilla, that's it. Tequila. Those agave spirits have overtaken whiskey in the market. They've overtaken whiskey. They're more popular than whiskey now here in America. Pretty amazing. And they're saying by the end of next year that they're going to overcome vodka. They're going to do more in sales than vodka is. So tequila is really on fire right now, or agave spirits, I should say, is on fire. So I had a friend in the other day who's one of our liquor reps, and we've been doing business with him for like 15 years. He had switched companies a couple years ago, and he came in and I said, Rick, I want next time you come up, and he only comes up a couple times a year because he's in the city, so a lot of the reps don't really get up to us. I said, next time you come up to us, I want to do a focus on agave spirits, all agave spirits. Anything that, and so they have a really smaller company, their portfolio's not that big. I was like, I want you to do a focus on agave. So he brought in gee, 30 different tequilas, mezcals, agave distillates. So when something is distilled and it doesn't fit into a category because there's no government protection. See, government protects things in Mexico and their agave spirits like they do, like France does with wine and Italy does with wine. It'd be called Brunello. You have to have a government certification. And I knew all this, and everything's registered and they're protected. So you have, these 5, 6, 7 protected spirits in Mexico that the government goes, this is how it's made, and this is the official government trademark, and this and that. But things that are being made that are declassified, like in Italy, you can declassify a wine if you don't want to meet the government standards. So, for example, in Champagne, let's just say France, Champagne, if you have a winemaker there that does not want to make champagne in Champagne, France, they can't be called champagne. It's declassified and it's just regular wine. And it's just a basic, country wine of Indipaz, something basic simply. In Italy, it's an IGT. It's just, just a regional wine that's not a Brunello or a Barolo or wherever whatever they're producing from. So it's declassified. So Mexico has a lot of these declassified spirits, and they're called agave distillates. So we tasted some agave distillates. We tasted some stuff from a guy that's from Mescalero that was taking plums and mangoes, juicing them, fermenting them in the ground, buried in the ground, and then distilling them. So we tasted this plum one. They only had like 36 bottles of this plum in New York, and the mango, they're like 6 bottles. And I said, send a bottle of each of those. Like, that's just way too cool of a spirit to pass up. So as Rick and I were talking about all the tequila out there, and tequila is really a very modernized industry. Mezcal is becoming modernized, but there's still some rankings for mezcal that you can look and see on a bottle of mezcal if it's truly authentic. So you have basically industrial mezcal, you have artisanal mezcal, which has to be open vat fermented, copper stills, and a Tahona wheel to crush it, right? Then you have ancestral tequila, which is the highest stage or highest level of authentic mezcal. And that would be open vat fermented, open air fermented, clay distilled, and then extracted with basically what looks like a baseball bat. And they're taking these bats and pounding by hand to extract. Instead of a Tahona wheel that's pulled by a mule or a tractor, they're actually 2 guys there that are pounding this thing like a baseball bat all day long to extract the nectar from the fiber after the agave is cooked. So that's ancestral tequila, mezcal. And those mezcals or raicillas are the most money, obviously, because it takes the most to do those. So those are at least over $100. We actually have a bottle of raicilla here that's done that way. They actually extract it by these bats, by these wooden bats, mallets, and then they distill it in a clay distill. It's distilled in a clay distill, which is, they say the flavors are better, but they say that the distill cracks, which happens, you lose your whole batch. Now look, a lot of these mezcaleros and mezcaleras, mezcalero is a term for a distiller, a person who makes mezcal, or a female mezcalera. All these mezcaleros, and there are mezcaleras out there that make these smooth, super small batches. And so you have these companies come in, and they'll be like, oh, you have 400 liters, we'll buy 6. The one company that we buy, the Mizonte, he's the chef from the restaurant owner from Philadelphia, the famous owner from Philadelphia, who has his own brand of Siembre. That's his brand of Siembre there. Very good mezcal, oven baked tequila. Very good tequila. Like, this is really awesome tequila. So he has a restaurant in Philly. So he goes in. He started this trust, this foundation that preserves Mexico cultures, and they go in there and pay a fair wage, and they'll go in and buy like 60% of this mezcalero's product, and then put his label on and bring it to the U.S. and keep 40% there, so they can still enjoy their local culture, and pays them a fair wage. And it's like, you can literally go all around Mexico and find these small families that are making this mezcal and these products, like in really small batches, that their product would never get to the U.S. So really cool. But and by the way, good morning everybody. Hi Gina, Annette. Good morning everybody. Chris. Hello everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Mona. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Maria. Awesome. So the one thing I learned about tequila this last week that I did not know, I know that they do additives in tequila. That by law they're allowed to do additives. I just didn't know the exact rules on additives in tequila. I mean, this is like this with a lot of spirits. A lot of spirits add stuff to it. We know they add coloring. That's a given. A lot of spirits have coloring added to it. A lot of spirits have sugar added to it, especially liqueurs. And you have no idea of knowing how much sugar or anything goes into liqueurs or any kind of spirit, or even vodka. You have no idea because it's never on the label. And it's very frustrating for me because I want to know that the product's pure. And it's not that case with a lot of things. It's just not that case. It's very, very frustrating. The law for tequila is they're allowed 1% of the volume of the product. They're allowed to put whatever they want in. It's not just certain things. Whatever they want to go in can go in this. Now this is Fortaleza. Fortaleza does not do anything. It's 100%, and you can watch Guillermo Souza talk about his tequila and that. There's nothing in this, but there's a lot of tequilas out there that'll put artificial flavorings in their tequila to round them out. So when you think you're drinking a really smooth tequila or tequila with this or that, by 1% of that can actually have 1% can actually have flavorings of anything, or sugar. They can add sugar to it. 1% of sugar by volume can go into it, glycerin, and these will round out the flavors of the tequila. Or add something. You can take little tiny, barely tiny hints of chocolate to add to it. And there's one brand that most likely does it. When you open it up, there's a little touch of cacao aromas in there, chocolate aromas that you can do. Whether they're infusing really true cacao, or they're putting in like a chocolate extract that's artificially made in just very, very, very small quantities, just to round stuff out. That can all be done legally. 1% of whatever they want. So, of course, we don't want to buy that kind of stuff, and we try to buy the stuff that is 100% pure. Fortaleza is a great brand. Nobody's ever had this. Fortaleza, the owner, Guillermo Souza, yes, the Souza name from Souza Tequila. No affiliation anymore. In 1976, Guillermo's grandfather sold this to a big company. One of the first ones to sell off. Got a lot of money back then, sold it off to a big company, sold Souza off. Souza, the new owner of Souza, new multinational conglomerate, right? I don't know who bought it back then, but they were not interested in the actual property of where the agave was grown. They weren't interested in this, in the equipment. They opened in 1870 or 1880 they opened. Now in 1870, the tequila world went through a big revolution. They stopped baking the agave heads, the piñas, in the ground, and they industrialized back then to making them quicker. So they built these above ground ovens, fired them, the smoke never got into the tequila, into the agave, and they industrialized it, and that was their way of doing more output. And like this is like 1870, 1880 that they went through this revolution. Before then, tequila was made just like mezcal. You dug a hole, made a fire, put the stones in, put the fibers in from the agave, and then put in the piñas, the agave, and then covered it up and put a smokestack in the center and baked it for 7 days in the ground. And so tequila was once very smoky, just like mezcal. By the way, there are some brands that have gone back in history. Even Patron has a line now where they have these earthen pits, and I think it's called Patron Reserve or something, Platinum or something, Ancestral. It might be called Ancestral. I'm not sure, but they have one line where they do that, and there's a few other brands out there that have gone back to that. Just as this is a sideline to say, hey, this is what homage to what tequila used to be before 1880. So this company was founded. Souza's founded this in 1880, 1870, somewhere back then. In 1976, they sold. They told the Souza label. The new company was not interested in the old equipment because they thought, oh, that old piece of crap equipment, we're going to build a new distillery, we're going to mass market this, and we're going to get high output and this and that. So they put in what's called autoclaves, these big style jet engines. They look like jet engines, and they open the door and you throw the heads in there and you shut it and seal it and you steam it. And it takes like 2 days instead of opposed to 7 days or just hours. So the Souza family kept the one property, Fortaleza. They kept Fortaleza. And They had the agave plants there. They had what was a museum. They had a tequila museum of all the equipment going back to 100 years. In the year 2000, Guillermo is a grandson of the Stauser who sold it. And Guillermo was only 20 years old in 1976 when they sold it. And Guillermo was not in the tequila world, but the family was pretty much devastated. The family was like, oh my gosh, 100 years in the tequila world, and we're selling out. So they still had the museum. They didn't make tequila. They had the museum, as a heritage thing. And in the year 2000, Guillermo says, can we make tequila? So his grandfather said, fire up the stills. Fire up the equipment that's literally, over 100 years old. So this right here is the only tequila in the market, the only tequila that uses 100% Tahona. A lot of companies say they use Tahona to extract, and Tahona is that big wood wheel, that big wheel. In fact, right there's the Tahona right there. That's the wheel, okay? A lot of companies say, they use Tahona, but they never use 100% Tahona. They use roller mills, shredders to extract, and these are mechanically done to extract. And some companies are even using diffuser. Diffusers are a really nasty word in the tequila industry. Hydrochloric acid. They don't even cook the agave with the diffuser. They shred it, and they just like flash steam it, drop hydrochloric acid on it, and it drops all the stuff out. And then after it's all extracted, then they start the cooking process. So you don't really want that in your tequila. And there's some big brands, a lot of big brands who are doing that because it's very efficient. But these places will not give a tour. They don't. It's very controversial the way they're doing this. But back to Fortaleza. So Guillermo launched in 2005 their very first line, Los Abuelos, the grandparents, which was the name of it. And they're so called that in Mexico. However, there's a rum company that's called Los Abuelos too that launched in the Virgin Islands 6 months before them and had their first official American sale, because it was on Virgin American land, and they beat them in court, so they had to change the name to Fortaleza. So if you go to Mexico, it's Los Abuelos. Here it's Fortaleza. Fortaleza being the original property that the Sauza was on. So this is owned by the Sauzas. It was the original Sauza plantation. It's by no means Sauza today. This tequila is one of the most sought after tequilas out there, very allocated. They're in about 30 or 40 states, 35 states in the US. Very small production. The glass is either 100% hand blown or semi hand blown. Even semi is an expensive way to make glass nowadays. Their tops, they make the corks themselves, or they don't make the corks, but they make the tops themselves and glue them on. So that's what the piña looks like, the agave after you shave it. That's exactly what the piñas look like. So, Fortaleza, no additives, true oven baked, true 100% Tahona, the real deal in tequila. And folks, I got to tell you, the Siempre Vales, he's got his act together too. Really, really great tequila. So, really awesome tequila. So yeah, so the thing I learned about tequila is they can do 1% of whatever they want in it. So those brands out there can add whatever they want. They can add sugar to it. They can add slight flavorings to it. They can add glycerin to it. They can add whatever they want to the tequila in the bottle, and then none of it's on the label. So that's it, folks. A little bit more longer than I wanted to be on today, but I'd share that. Some of you are asking, when are we going to Jalisco? When are we going to Oaxaca? Oaxaca being the food capital of Mexico, Jalisco being where tequila's from, Oaxaca's being where mezcal's from. Those are southern states. So people are saying, Marcus, are you getting ready to do a trip there? Like, take us there, take us there. Had a lot of comments on that. Indeed, we will probably someday do that. That would be the plan someday. Jamie and I need to go down there first, make sure we know the lay of the land, make sure we meet all the people down there, make sure that we understand what's going on, the best hotels, the best restaurants, best food spots. Which doesn't even be a restaurant, it'll be a food spot down there. Make sure it's safe, which a lot of Americans go down to Oaxaca and Jalisco. In fact, Rick, who was our friend who came in the other day, who showed us all these 30 agave distillates, he's been there many times. And he's actually invited us over the years many times. He's like, Marcus, there's a trip going. You can go to Fortaleza twice a year. Twice a year, industry. They do an industry week down there where industry goes down there and people go to Fortaleza, and Guillermo actually takes you to the Cuervo factory, so you can see a massive, massive company, and then you can go see his small little place. So Rick's been saying for years, Marcus, May or October, the 2 trips go off for industry, and we just Jamie and I have never done it. So we need to go down there and check out what's going on down there. Rick's been down there, like I said, many, many times. And Rick was just like an insane amount of knowledge. He was blowing my mind the other day, and he was brought in all this cool stuff. So I think we ordered like 12 new bottles of Agave Distillates, Agave spirits, to add to our menu the other day. So we got some cool stuff, including that plum and including the mango. So and some cool pachugas. So we got some really cool stuff coming in. So that's it, folks. Everybody have a great day. Happy July 4th. Hope everybody's safe out there. And we are open today at 3 o'clock, because it's Sunday. Tomorrow we open at 4-ish, and we close early. Last reservation by 7 o'clock tomorrow night. There's a parade in Ellenville. So parade in Ellenville. And that's it. Hope everybody has a great day. Thanks, Gina, for hanging in there and watching. I said a lot. Thanks. Appreciate it. It's my cousin Gina. All right, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing day. We'll talk to you later.